Near the village of Thiepval in France stands a tower. It is not typical of the region, yet it attracts over 100,000 visitors a year. Today it is peaceful in the fields and woods close to the tower. But during World War I, this area was a scene of slaughter, and it was here that many witnessed the full horrors of war. But it was also a place of heroism and sacrifice. From the woods nearby, soldiers from the 36th Ulster Division formed up on the 1st of July 1916 to take part in the Battle of the Somme. It was a day never to be forgotten, neither by those who were there, nor by the families who lost loved ones. In recognition of the sacrifices made by those from Ulster throughout the war, it was decided to erect a memorial in the form of a tower near those woods from which the soldiers of the 36th Ulster Division had emerged. This memorial is called the Ulster Tower. When the war ended, people in different countries were considering ways in which the sacrifices made would not be forgotten. At a meeting held in the Old Town Hall, Belfast in November 1919, it was decided that a monument should be built not only to commemorate the sacrifices made by soldiers of the 36th Ulster Division, but also all the other soldiers from Ulster who participated in the war. It was Sir James Craig who suggested that the monument should be in the form of a well-known Ulster landmark. Eventually, Helen's Tower at Clandyboy Estate near Belfast was selected as the most appropriate and best-known landmark. It was appropriate since it was within the grounds of Clandyboy Estate near Bangor that many of the 36th Ulster Division had trained before heading for France. The new memorial tower was to be a replica of Helen's Tower and was to be called the Ulster Tower. An important decision was, where should it be built? The obvious place would be somewhere near Thiepval village, and through the generosity of the French, it was decided to build a tower near Thiepval Wood, right on the German front line and at the centre of the attack by the 36th Ulster Division. Even today, some signs of the German front line can be seen near the tower. Initially, a French prefect of the Somme region had declared that the land was to be left intact for eternity, but that did not happen. However, the final agreement made with the French authorities stated that a piece of land would be given forever to the people of Ulster, as long as a memorial remained there. The price paid for this was 1 franc. It was through public subscription and government support that sufficient funds were raised to allow the London architects Bowden and Abbott to design the tower. And once designed, 2 building contractors, one from London and another from France, soon began to construct the memorial. The Ulster Tower stands 21 metres tall and consists of a ground floor, in which is the memorial room, with 3 further floors being used as living accommodation. It was the first official memorial on the Western Front, and on the 19th of November 1921, a dedication service took place at the tower. The ground at the time had remained practically undisturbed from the days of war. A large party of people left Belfast on Wednesday the 16th of November 1921 to make their way via London and Calais to Amiens, and this was in order to attend the inauguration ceremony at the tower on Friday the 19th of November. Interestingly, a number of the party consisted of soldiers of all ranks. The programme for the dedication service lists who was officiating. It was the women of Ulster who, through the donations collected, ensured that a flagpole was erected in the grounds. And it was the Duchess of Abercorn who unfurled the first Union Jack that had been presented by the women of Ulster. The trees that lined the avenue leading to the tower were planted by veterans from the 36th Ulster Division, and on the day it was General Nugent, who had commanded the Ulster Division, who gave an account of what happened during the battle. A plaque in the memorial room of the tower records that it was Sir Edward Carson who officially opened it. However, due to illness, he was unable to attend, and in fact the tower was declared open by Field Marshal Sir Henry Wilson. Through its early years, the tower was a place to visit, and in the 1920s it received a number of visitors, with the first major event taking place in 1928, when the Royal British Legion visited the tower for the first time. Early on, the tower had a connection with the Imperial War Graves Commission, now called the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. A compact agreement between the relevant authorities allowed the Imperial War Graves Commission to use the tower as an operational base. The origins of the Imperial War Graves Commission were mainly due to Fabian Ware, who commanded a mobile ambulance unit of the Red Cross during the war. He felt it was vitally important to mark, record, and eventually register the final resting places of the fallen. He was Vice Chairman of the Imperial War Graves Commission, and today there are over 23,000 cemeteries controlled by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. For years, the resident caretaker was Sergeant McMaster, accompanied by his wife. Both of them carried out the supervision of the tower and surrounding property. After this, it was a local French woman from Beaumont Hamel who took over the role. During World War II, Adolf Hitler was in the area, and some have suggested that there was a photograph taken of him at the tower, but no such photo has ever been located. However, the Germans did use the tower as a sentry post, and it is reported that on the parapet a German swastika was engraved. It was because of World War II that the trees originally planted in 1921 could not be tended, and disease eventually destroyed most of them. After 1945, the avenue approaching the tower was completely replanted with ornamental plum trees, and the names of those associated with the original plantings were then recorded for posterity. An important event took place in 1971, when the tower was the centre of a commemorative service for its 50th anniversary. Many dignitaries and veterans attended this event. Through time, the tower fell into disrepair, so that by 1983 its existence was known to only a few. At this time, Dr. Ian Adamson was associated with an inter-community organisation in Northern Ireland that was called the Farset Youth Community. Whilst on a visit to France with local students from Farset Youth Community, he decided on an impulse to visit the tower.
I felt that whenever we were going up through France towards to Calais again, that just to see the Ulster Tower and to show it to young people would be very important for them, not only for me. And I was really pleasantly surprised to see the interest the young people had in the Ulster Tower and in that part of their history. They themselves were sort of amazed, as it were, that the tower was not known to them at all, and that the tower had come into a state of disrepair. And the inside, that is, although it looked fine on the outside. So that they themselves gave us the impetus to do something about it. And they themselves helped in the refurbishment of the tower and made it into the terrific symbol of peace and reconciliation which it has become.
The visit, and in particular the interest shown by the students, prompted work to be carried out on the tower by the Somme Association. And it was Princess Alice, the president of the Somme Association, who was the main guest of honour at the rededication of the tower in 1989. In 1991, another important event was marked at the Tower. This was the 75th anniversary of the Battle of the Somme. In the foreword to the official programme, Princess Alice, the Honorary President of the Somme Association, wrote, "Perhaps soon, with the blessing of God, we will witness at last that genuine peace in Ireland, stamped with the hallmarks of justice, goodness and truth, which will be a lasting tribute to those heroes who fought and died for us 75 years ago this day." The memorial room on the ground floor measures 5 metres by 5 metres, and contained therein are many wreaths, crosses, plaques, pictures, and other material relating to the sacrifices made by Ulster soldiers in World War I.
And here we have a memorial to Matthew John Wright. He was a clergyman's son from Newtonards. His father was minister in Newtonards. And here we have, in loving memory of Lieutenant Wright, killed near this spot and never forgotten. The fourth son, all of them served. He was a bomb throwing instructor and he was killed by a shell on the 1st of July 1916.
Of particular note is the inscription in gold letters that runs around the room. It is an amended version of words written by Alfred Lord Tennyson that relate to Helen's Tower near Conlig. Helen's Tower, here I stand, dominant over sea and land. Son's love built me, and I hold Ulster's love in lettered gold. On the original in Helen's Tower, the final line reads, Mother's love in lettered gold. Within the grounds surrounding the tower are 2 memorials. Just inside the gate is a memorial to those soldiers who won Victoria Crosses in World War I. And sited behind the tower is a second memorial placed there by the Orange Order that honours those Orange men who fought and died in the Battle of the Somme. Particular reference is made to those Orange men who won Victoria Crosses in both World Wars. Throughout the 1990s and beyond, the Somme Association worked hard to improve the tower and adjacent facilities within the grounds. The complex now embraces a toilet block, a cafe with ample seating capacity, picnic tables, an interpretive centre and a small cinema area. All these facilities are enjoyed by the 100,000 plus visitors who come each year, including those who require disabled access. The latest attraction offered by a visit to the tower is a guided tour of the nearby woods, where in July 1916 soldiers formed up before going over the top, many of them never to return to their homeland. Even today, discoveries of remains of bodies on the Somme battlefield keep the story of valour and sacrifice up to date. As part of its work, the Somme Association organises an annual pilgrimage tour to the battlefields of France and Belgium, with one of the highlights being a service of remembrance at the Tower, where an opportunity is given for dignitaries, local council representatives from Northern Ireland and members of the public to lay wreaths. Who knows what the future holds for the Tower? Improvements remain ongoing, and the Somme Association remains determined to provide an important educational role whereby people from far and near learn of the sacrifices made by the 36th Ulster Division and others from Ulster in the battles of World War I.
practice is coming on well.